Good morning, Arizona. On this Wednesday morning, this is your Arizona Family on the Go podcast, and I'm Scott Passmore. We begin with some developing news from overnight. A woman in critical condition after a fire broke out at a condo complex near 19th Avenue in Camelback. Firefighters found the woman on the second floor. They say she was suffering from smoke inhalation. One other person will be displaced because of this fire. Phoenix fire investigators still looking into the cause. And a suspect was shot. Another is in custody after a police shooting in North Phoenix. This happened yesterday near Bell Road and 35th Avenue. Phoenix police telling us it all started with a 911 call about two people. The caller said one of them had a gun, and when officers arrived, one of the suspects was shot and taken to the hospital. Another big story here in the Valley. FBI agents rescued 5 children in a sex trafficking sting in Phoenix, arresting 1 trafficking suspect and 31 people who investigators say tried to have sexual contact with children here in the Valley. It was all part of a nationwide investigation called Operation Cross Country. In all, detectives rescued 59 children who had been reported missing. They identified or arrested 195 suspects for child exploitation. And making news around Arizona this morning, 1 person is dead and 57 others hurt after a bus rolled over at the Grand Canyon West. It happened yesterday morning just south of the Skywalk. 8 people had to be airlifted to the hospital, the rest taken by ambulance. No word on exactly what caused the crash, but apparently another car was also involved. Listen to that rain. The monsoon may not be making a big mark here in the Valley, but definitely is in other parts of the state. Bullhead City getting lots of rain. Meanwhile, the historic heat wave taking a toll on all of us, including a species that's vital to our food supply and ecosystem. Beekeepers in Arizona say they're seeing honeybees die, with some of their hives melting and collapsing in the heat, and their food is being impacted by the hot, dry summer as well. There's a low supply of nectar and pollen, and it could have a broader impact because plants need pollinators.
Bees provide so much pollination, which of course is our food sources, but also our oxygen from the plants. So having bees survive is vital really to our existence.
And if you'd like to help the bees, you can put out a bucket of water to help them hydrate because the extreme heat is back this week. So here's April with your forecast.
Yep, an excessive heat warning has now been issued for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are also all 3 first alert weather days. High temperatures will climb back to near 115 to 116 thanks to a ridge of high pressure returning to our region. There's also been a return to a flow of dry air coming into Arizona from the southwest, squashing storm chances after today. 110 today, 116 by the weekend. Look for a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms in the valley today, but dry and quiet and hotter weather starting tomorrow and lasting through at least the middle of next week. In the high country, storm chances remain near 50% today, but drop off also to just 10% starting tomorrow. Monsoon is not over, but looks like we're heading into a break through at least the end of next week.
April, thank you. A Valley grandfather vanished 6 days ago, and now his family is desperate for answers. They're hoping for your help in finding him. He went to the store on an errand and never came back. The family of 86-year-old Sal Catarano says he doesn't suffer from dementia and has never wandered off before. Surveillance cameras show him at a Kohl's at 19th Avenue in Bell last Wednesday. His wife and son say he went to buy a shirt and planned to come right back home.
He would come home if he could. So this is why I say somebody has to have him. Somebody did something to him, because he would never do this to me. I know it.
And a few days ago, somebody tried to make a charge on one of Sal's credit cards online, which leads his family to believe that foul play was involved. You can find a picture of Sal and more information on the AZ Family mobile news app. Former President Trump is set to appear in a D.C. courtroom tomorrow after a historic indictment in the 2020 election probe. The new grand jury indictment accuses the former president of knowingly spreading lies and pressuring local and federal officials to overturn the 2020 election results. Arizona is mentioned more than 40 times in the 45-page indictment. Our state has been a hotspot for 2020 election conspiracies. The indictment alleges the former president knowingly lied when he claimed that more than 30,000 false ballots were cast in Arizona. It refers to the testimony of former Arizona Republican Speaker of the House, Rusty Bowers, who said he felt personal pressure to change the vote here. Trump is the only person charged in this new indictment, but there are 6 unnamed co-conspirators. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign releasing a statement saying, in part, quote, "Today we are a nation in decline. President Trump will not be deterred by disgraceful and unprecedented political targeting." Meanwhile, the Mojave County Board of Supervisors rejected a plan to hand count votes in its 2024 election. The vote comes after Secretary of State Adrian Fontes sent a letter to the supervisors in Kingman warning a hand count of ballots could violate state law. At the state capitol, Governor Hobbs signed a bill that allows voters to decide the future of the transportation tax, which has been used for decades to fund some of the biggest infrastructure projects in Maricopa County. Prop 400 on the ballot will be a half-cent tax for the next 20 years, raising $1 billion a year for transportation projects. The light rail has been a major sticking point, and as part of the compromise, taxes raised by Prop 400 would not go to the light rail. Maricopa County voters will see it on the ballot next year. And another part of the compromise between the governor and Republican lawmakers is a ban on taxes on rental properties. Around 70 towns and cities charge a tax on rentals, and many of them depend on the income to fund key services like fire and police. Republicans persuaded the governor to ban the tax, they say, to save families money. Critics of the plan say there's nothing to prevent landlords from absorbing the savings themselves and not passing it along to their renters. It does not go into effect until January of 2025. And we're keeping a close eye on possible movement within the Pac-12. Right now, the future of the Wildcats and Sun Devils seems to be up in the air. The Arizona Board of Regents had a last-minute meeting yesterday afternoon, reportedly to talk about the proposed Pac-12 media rights deal. A source telling AZ Family the deal would be a subscription-based streaming deal with Apple TV+. No decision was made yesterday, and there are still bigger questions. Will Arizona become the 14th member of the Big 12 or stay in the Pac-12? And if they go, will ASU follow? The coaches were asked about this situation.
I'll say this, athletics are very expensive, and to run sports programs is very expensive. And as the NCAA has continued to loosen rules, so clearly the multimedia rights aspect of this decision is going to be critical to the success of Arizona athletics in the future.
So once again, no decisions made yesterday at that Board of Regents meeting. At least for this season's, fans can still watch the games in the same places they did last year, like the Pac-12 network. So that's a look at your morning news on this Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone.